It appears the debate on the deployment of soldiers for the conduct of the general elections may not end soon. The latest opinion on the matter comes from the chairman of the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, who has backed the call for troops to take charge of security to ensure hitch-free polls.
Well, Professor Odinkalu told our political correspondent, Seun Okinbaloye, in an interview that Nigeria is currently in a state of war, which justifies such an action in line with the Geneva Convention Act. Some Nigerians have kicked against the deployment of the military for the exercise based on a court judgment against the move.
Do you think that we need military deployment for the 2015 general elections?
Yes. Absolutely, yes. You see, I'm not a politician. I will not be a politician. People are not reading the full panoply of laws that are applicable. Part of the laws we've got to read, let me remind everybody who's listening to this, is the Geneva Conventions Act. The Geneva Conventions are applicable in Nigeria. And that includes Common Article 3 of the Geneva Conventions with respect to the protection of civilians in conflict, in armed conflict. Now, in 2013, as far back as 2013, the International Committee of the Red Cross, which supervises the operation of the Geneva Conventions, decided that Nigeria, determined independently of Nigeria's government, that Nigeria was in a non-international armed conflict. That's a civil war. In 2013, the Office of the Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court decided that Nigeria is in a civil war. In February 2014, the National Human Rights Commission determined that Nigeria is in a civil war. We cannot in 2015 deny that Nigeria is in a civil war. We don't have the assets to protect all of Nigeria. If you were to deploy just police and deploy what else? Civil defense. You don't have the assets. Let's be honest about this. We don't have the assets to protect all of Nigeria for these elections, given the fact that we're fighting a war. We have to be honest about it. And we've got to ask ourselves as Nigerians, how do we elevate this conversation beyond who captures power and who takes it and who holds it? How do we do the best for our people? No judge should confuse you and tell you, oh, you know, on that day I will protect you because I can write a judgment. They won't. No lawyer, no senior advocate should confuse you. Oh, you know, we know the law. End of the day, it is the commander-in-chief and the governors who swear to an oath to protect the people. And they have to be honest with themselves and say, okay, so you take the army out of the equation, right? In a country that is fighting a war, in which in 1 year alone, you had more mortality than Iraq and Afghanistan put together, in which in the last month, we've lost over 4,000 people, and you are saying you're going to have elections in which your best equipped people are going to be staying in the barracks. I will not vote in those elections.